Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Basically, this is the AWS Zero to Master series, and in the last session, we learned about how to create that AWS EC2 instance and how we can automate the task using the bootstrapping user data. So, in the today's session, we will see about the security group and how we can create the security group with how we can apply the rules into the security group. So, let's get started. Basically, AWS security groups it is the basics level of firewall. As I mentioned, that is called that the entry level of firewall, so that we can allow and deny the traffic for the EC2 instance level. The security group, when we are creating that VPC, or if when we are creating the VPC, it will be like by default one of the security group will be created under the VPC. So we can create a multiple security group also under the VPC. There is no limit to create a VPC. So, using that security groups, basically we can allow and deny the traffic, and we can control the in and out traffic for the EC2 instance. So, in the AWS perspective, the security groups called that the stateful set. So that means when we are enabling that port for inbound, that will be applicable for that outbound also. No need to be enabled separately for the outbound. The same way, if you are enabling any port for outbound, that will be automatically allow for the inbound also. So, and one more thing, as I mentioned, the security group will be created under the VPC, but we can assign those security groups to the multiple EC2 instances. For example, if you have a 10 production environment, we can we need to be control those production EC2 instance. Using the security, we can enable the port in the one of the security groups, and we can attach those security groups into the all production EC2 instance. The way we can control. So apart from that, when we are creating that security groups, so by default, the outbound role all will be like allow. That means from the EC2 to the outside world, any traffic has been happening. But the inbound rule by default it will be disabled. That means from the outside world to if we need to be connect that EC2 instance, that will not happen. We need to be like uh, enable the port based on our requirement. So, before start to create the security groups, if we know about the basics port, that will be helpful for that. So these all are the basics level of port I have been taken. Apart from that, there are multiple ports are available, but on our lab, we are going to be the SSH and HTTP. So basically, SSH is 22 and HTTP service is 80 ports. Along with that, like the HTTP will become 443 and RDP, that is called the remote desktop connection. That will be helpful for that when we are connecting the Windows-based machine. So DNS 53 and lot more ports are available. So we will start out to looking on that security group creation on that AWS console level, and just quickly switch into that console. So So basically, the security group we can manage on the EC2 console level. Either when we are creating the instance, we can create a security group and we can enable the required port as well. When you click on the launch instance under the networking tab, you can see one of the option called create a security group and select existing security group. So apart from that, the another way we can create called if you expand that left pair, there is one option called the security groups under the network and security. So just click on the security. So here, we can create our security groups and we can attach those security groups when we are creating the EC2. So right now, what we will do, we will try to create a security group on the security group pane, and we will try to attach those security groups into the EC2 instance. So to do that, just click on the security group, create a security group. So basically, this is the security group name to find out the purpose. So I'll just to call it as the SG. lab. So description, we can define why we are creating the security group. So we can define the purpose so that everyone can understand. So I'm going to be allow the SSH and HTTP. So I'm just typing allow SSH and HTTP ports. So apart from that, as I mentioned, the security group will be work it on that any one of the VPC. So we need to be select that VPC. If we have a multiple VPC, we can select it any one of them. Right now I have only one VPC. So as I mentioned, coming to that rule, by default the inbound rule that will be blocked. Like that means like whenever we are creating the security group, the no traffic will be happen from the outside world to the the EC2 instance. But by default the outbound rule, that means like all the traffic from the EC2 instance to outside world that will be happen. So the way only the by default the security group will be happen. The tagging is the separate option. All the resources we can tag it. We will see it on that one of the separate session. The tag how we can assign the tag. So I'm going to be create the security group without inbound rule. So create a security group. So now you can see the security group has been created. There is no outbound rule. So now what we will do, we will try to create an instance with the security group and we'll see how it will be impact. So to do that, just click on the launch instance. So I'm going to be call it as the SSH and web server. Okay. So application like that AMI, I'm going to be that Amazon Linux. All the other things I'm going to be use it as the default one. So here I'm going to be use it proceed without key pair. I'm not going to be create anything. So apart from that, that VPC, the say the security group under the network setting, we need to be select that existing security group, and we should be map those particular created security groups. So this is the one we have been created SG SSH HTTP lab. So basically, I'm just going to be select. So the storage, other things we are going to be do anything. And one more thing to test that HTTP port, we will pass it some user data on the user data section so that we will validate whether that HTTP port enabled or not. So basically the user data, we can pass it on the user data section. So if you are not aware of that, if you need to know more about of that, I just uploaded on that video in the previous session and I just covered those user data. So maybe you can just look on this, we will get that more idea on that. So I'm just pasting the user data. So basically what we are doing using the M utility, we are installing the HTTPD service. This is the web services, and we are adding that content called welcome to my channel and the host name of the host name of the EC2 in the index.html. So what will happen? It will install the HTTP automatically once the EC2 instance has been created. So that's all the basics configuration. I'm just doing the launch instance. So just to refer this but like icon, so we can track the status whether creating or not. So just to click on that instance, this is the one I have been created. So we got the public IP. The public IP is that 54.91.46.83. So using the public IP, we are going to be check it whether the HTTPD service enabled or not. So to do that, just copy the public IP and using the port called HTTP, we are going to be access. So it should be through the like that web services detail with the content of welcome to my channel. So when we are hitting that the public IP, it's taking some times, but it will not give any result. So why the reason? The reason behind that we just to pass the user data into that EC2 so that it should be install the user data in the particular EC2 instance and it should be through the details. But why the like site throwing the error? The reason behind that we have been attached the security group to the particular EC2 and we didn't enable the port any of the port on the security group level. So basically, what will happen when we are trying to access the like the HTTP service using that public URL like public IP, it will try to reach the security group first. It will be check the port enabled status. If it is not enabled, that will be like a star. That will be like deny the request and it will be throw the error. That means site cannot be reached. So we will try to add those port into the security group, then we'll see what will impact on that mission level. So to change the port, either we can go to the security group or else if we need to be check it on the particular EC2, just click on the security and click on the security group. So as I mentioned, there is no inbound rule running on that. So just click on the inbound rule. So click on the add rule. So basically here we can pass the some of the configuration details based on our requirement. So type is basically what kind of port we are going to be passing, either TCP, UDP, all TCP, all traffic. If you are click on the all traffic, all the port will be allowed. But this is not a secured way. We need to be enable the security group rule with a specific port. So I'm going to be call it as a specific HTTP port. So basically, this will be run it on the TAT. The source means from where we are going to be connect those EC2 or those HTTP service. So basically, we can call it that custom. Custom means any of the particular IP or particular segment we can define. Otherwise, we can like anywhere means this will be like applicable for all the network. This is the way we can control. So right now, what we are going to do, we are going to be add anywhere. So that means whatever the traffic coming from any network to the particular security group with this port 80 port, that will be allowed. So I'm going to be like add it. So if you record any description, you can just put it on the description. So save rule. So once we allow the security group like port, if you refer this page again, now you can see like we are getting the response. That means the traffic once the traffic hit into the security group, it will be validate the inbound rule with the specific port. Basically, the specific port is that HTTP 80. So basically, we are trying to access with HTTP 80. So it will validate and it will pass into the particular like a destination called that EC2 instance. So this is the way we can add that one of the port in that security group. So now we will take that one more example how we can like how we can enable the port on the instance level. So another example we will take it. We will try to allow the SSH on the security group level. So SSH means nothing but like to connect our Linux instance in the secured way. So like basically to connect our like Linux or Windows anything using the AWS management console level, there is one option called connect. Using the connect option, we can connect our AWS console, sorry, AWS EC2 instance. So basically, they are providing that multiple option to connect that our EC2 instance. Right now, we are going to be taking that security group level. So we will take it that EC2 instance connect. By default, the user data is like username is that EC2 hyphen user. So one sec, let me change that. Okay, so user data is that the username is that EC2 user, and I'm just trying to connect. So if I'm just trying to connect, it will not work. So the reason behind we are accessing that like EC2 instance through that console, but even though we didn't enable the like concern port on the AWS security group level. Now you can see like 80 ports only has been enabled, but SSH as I mentioned, we require 22 port that should be enabled on the security group level. So what we need to be do, like we need to be first enable those rule on the security group level. So just to click on the security group and edit the inbound rule. So I'm going to add the rule. And here instead of HTTP, what we are going to do, we are going to be at the SSH port. So click on the SSH port. The port will be 22 and the source will be anywhere IPv4. So I'm just going to be save the rule. So now you can see the rule has been created. So when I'm just again refreshing this page, what will happen? It will be like first we enter into the security group and On the security group level, it will be validate whether the concern port is enabled or not. If it is enabled, we can get it the response. I'm just going to be refresh. So now you can see that the connection has been establishing. So we will get it. Yeah. Now you can see the machine has been connected successfully. The IP address is 172.31.19.205. So if you click on the instance, if you click on that machine name, okay, you can see the private IP is 172.31.19.205. So basically, this is the way we can enable and disable the port on the security group level, so that we can restrict our traffic, and we can like control over the security group level. So that's all about the AWS security groups. So still, if you have any doubt, or if you want to more about the security group, just feel free to let me know on this comment section. I'll just try to take it up. So once again, thanks for watching my channel, and we'll see you in the upcoming session.